exactly 50% of high school football teams across America lose every Friday night. So 50% win, 50% lose. So
you said he was the smartest guy on the line.
so it's a big number, right?
Hey, that was a Jim Simmons answer there.
Yeah. So you have to look at what else is there besides winning and losing, and it comes down to relationships. And my $1 million check in life is on Father's Day when players call me and tell me Happy Father's Day. And those kind of lifelong connections, I got goosebumps now.
Or to hear them on the street, you'll hear, Coach.
Yeah.
You turn around, you're looking, you see a guy with white hair.
Yeah.
You're going,
well, wait a minute.
You see a face, and you start to say, hey, wait, I know him. You know, and he's calling Coach. Oh, Coach, he hugs your neck.
Yeah.
And you know that you made a difference in his life. And
That's right.
I hope people today and can understand what that meant and what we're really missing, like these no-huddle offenses. Man, they don't know what they're missing in those huddles. We used to have some really good conversations in those huddles, man. Wasn't a few seconds, but I mean, they were powerful.
Let's talk about communication. Let's talk about the love. Let's talk about communication. Oh, let's talk about the love. Let's talk about communication. Let's talk about the love. Let's talk about communication. Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your host, William Robinson, coming at you live today from the studios of TLC, Talk, Love, and Communication. Today we have a special guest on My Story. We have Mr. David Lancaster and James Boutwell. These gentlemen are going to give us some wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Let us know about some positive things in our community and let us know how they became the men that they are today, ladies and gentlemen. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give these young men a special round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, how are we doing today, gentlemen?
Good, William. Thank you for letting us be here.
Yeah, doing very well. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Lancaster, you want to tell my audience a little bit about yourself, sir?
Yes, sir. I was born in Ocala, raised, spent my whole life here other than when I went to school for a few years. Came back and taught school and coached football. And when my first son was born, I stepped away from teaching and coaching and went into construction business and did that for about 15 years. And then I went back to teaching school and coaching again, and played for Coach Jim Simmons, who you've had a podcast with, who's very influential in our lives and so many other people's lives. And we were here the first day he came to Ocala, and just been he's been a mentor and a friend for a long time. Got 3 kids, and my daughter's getting married in November, so we're excited about that.
Okay.
And my new son-in-law to be is in the Navy, and just a real respectful, honorable man. And so sports has meant a lot to me because of the person that it's made me through basically the mental toughness and the camaraderie and the love for your teammates. It has a lot of lifelong lessons. Life will knock you down, and you go back to your football days. You get up and get back in the huddle, and just through a lot of encouragement and community leaders and that sort of thing mold you who you are. But it's been good.
It's been good. That's great, sir. Mr. Boutwell, you want to tell my audience a little bit about yourself, sir?
Well, a little bit. I was born here in Ocala, like David, 1954. I was raised by 2 of the best parents a young man could ask for. Eventually, attended Forest High School. Played with Coach Simmons. Trying to do it in order as I think about it. Got married in 1972. My wife and I entered the United States Air Force on the buddy system. Spent 4 years there. She spent 2.5 when she got pregnant with our oldest son. And so she left the service. When we got out, I started into construction with my dad and my brother, company, road work and paving and whatnot. We did well. We had a good life in business. Very thankful to this community for everything that they've given our family. And we went on to have 4 children. We now have 14 grandchildren. And during that time, I also coached at Forest High School. Coached 7 years in the MCYFL, coached 7 years at Forest. And I won't tell you my record. It's quite good, but I'll just save it to myself.
Okay.
And was while we were in the Air Force, I got saved. I'm a born-again believer, and I give Jesus credit for everything I've ever done.
That's right. That's a great start. You gentlemen are staples of our community. You say all 3 of us are alumni of Ocala Forest, the Ocala Forest High School. Mm-hmm. So when you think of Forest High School, what does it mean to you, gentlemen?
Well, to me, when I think of Forest High School, I think of all the activities we did while we were there, as the dances and the friends and lifelong friendships. Of course, I think of my playing football there with people like David. It's just been an inspiration in our lives, all of them. Unfortunately, some of those classmates have passed on now because we are getting up there. Mm-hmm. But Forest High School was a great part of our life, and you are right. That was when it was the Forest High School.
The Forest High School. What about you, Mr. Lancaster?
Well, it just meant the world to me. I think that we were so blessed to grow up in the time period that we were in, and Forest High School, it was just a microcosm of the community, and a lot of good people from all parts of Ocala. And it was just a good, wholesome place to go to school, and had teachers that cared about you, that guided you, coaches that cared about you and guided you. It was good. Like James said, the activities were good. We do simple things like in PE. The whole PE class would walk to the bowling alley over there by the Thriftway, and you got 50 kids walking down the street, and go over there and you give them a quarter and you bowl for an hour, and I don't think that you can do that today. You got to get all the paperwork signed, and who's responsible, and you have to take a bus and all that kind of stuff.
And there's one thing for sure: it won't cost a quarter.
No, it won't cost a quarter anymore. Yeah, but fun things like that. It's like homecoming. They used to have a skit on Thursday night that was called Cats Capers, K-A-T-S, Capers, K-A-P-E-R-S, and it's just a lot of fun with the different clubs putting things together, and it was a simpler time, and it seemed like everybody could get along pretty good.
There's a few things that all 3 of us have in common. And one of those things is Coach Jim Simmons. Mm-hmm. When you hear that name, what does that man mean to you as a person, as a football player, as a coach? Right. As a mentor. Right.
Well, he's meant the world to me, and to so many other people. He's tougher than a burnt boot, but he has a heart as big as anybody. And would work you hard to a purpose to make you mentally tough, and to where the practices that James and I went through, when we get to Friday night, it was a joy, because when we stepped off the bus, we knew we were tougher than the other team, just for the sheer fact of all that we went through. And you knew he had your back, you knew he cared about you, and he expected the best from you every day, and he was just a friend and a mentor, and he's funny,
Yes.
he makes you laugh,
Yes, sir.
and his intensity is unmatched. You go to Booster Stadium and he's coaching. He's going there to win, but just real meaningful. So thankful that God put him in my life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What about you, Mr. Boutwell?
Coach Simmons, I guess, the first time I ever saw him was in Jacksonville, old Ocala High School, the year before Forest. I was a sophomore, and we actually Ocala High School played Terry Parker that year. And I went up there. He was the offensive line coach. Of course, I didn't meet him, but he was on the field, and I did see him. And the offensive line actually sprinted to the ball. And it looked like a machine when those kids would get to the ball. And it was very impressive, and I thought to myself, man, their coach, he just must be a psycho coach, something just really crazy. So lo and behold, not even a year, but after that season, probably 70, I guess it was, he showed up in our auditorium there at Old Forest High School, and he was with Brent Hall. And Brent Hall was doing most of the talking, and Coach Simmons just sat next to him chewing tobacco.
Mm-hmm. I remember those days.
So he was just sitting there, and you know how he would do his jaw, and he'd stick it out, and and it's, I don't know, he'd spit in a cup or something. And Mike Mangan, a friend of ours, he played offensive guard on the other side of David for me, and he leaned over to me and he says, James, he said, that guy's psycho up there. I said, yeah, I think you're right. Well, I didn't know how true it was till we got in practice. And like David said, we knew, we didn't know if we could win, but we knew we were tougher than the other team, that we were going to put up a scrap.
And as a football player, how important is it to have the kids to believe in the coach? You can get so much out of the kids when they believe in you as a coach.
Well, that's right, and I think the important part of that, making them believe that they're tough, that they can win, carries over into life. And that's what's important. Football is just what it is, a game. Mm-hmm. But when you go out there and take those kids, and this is what's so sorely missed today, that I see in what that used to teach, they're trying to dumb down the sports like that. They're trying to, do things that's just not. Boys, men need this. They need that way to release those things that make us men.
Yeah.
And that's what that game does. And then when you grow up, and then when you get faced with hardships, and I know probably we've all had our share, maybe some harder than others, mm-hmm. but that's what helps get you through it. And I tell you what, he meant the world to me. Just based on that.
I know our spring of our sophomore year, there was over 80 people come out for varsity football in the spring practice mm-hmm. when Coach Simmons, Coach Hall showed up. And at the end of that first year, our fall of our junior year, there were like 18 players left on the team. And only the toughest continued to stay there. Basically, every day of our career, I started at center for 2 years. And during the season, every Monday, Coach Simmons, after we do agility drills and stretching, and we'd move there in individual group, and with his foot, he would draw an X on the grass, and he'd say, I want my starting center to stand on that X. Well, the second team center and I would go over there and physically fight. And whoever won that battle right there was the starter Friday night.
That's right.
So you talking about some hellish licks, so I mean you're physically fighting, and basically blocking is a physical fight.
That's right.
And so once you figure out the toughness of that, The other drill that he did was called a face-off drill, and you'd be like 8 or 9 yards apart, and he'd blow the whistle, and I'd be facing you, and you'd run in place. And then he'd blow the whistle again or give some command, and you would run as fast as you could, the other person running as fast as they could, and the only thing that could touch was face mask. You couldn't use your hands, your forearms, nose to nose. And you don't, you just some great collisions. And so when you start doing that, you think, this is crazy, but after a while you start to love it. And so once you figure out that, your head is about the hardest thing you have, and so you go put your face on somebody else, they're not used to that in the game. And so they do that. I know the other thing that they did, Coach Eddie Romeo introduced Arkansas hate drill, and so it was our January of our junior year, so we struggled our fall of our junior year. And so the first day of off-season training, there was a obstacle course behind the field house that President Kennedy provided to all the schools. They had an obstacle course, kind of like what the Army or Marines would have. And there was a sawdust pit underneath one of the apparatus there, and it was probably twice the size of this room, maybe 300 square feet, something like that, thick sawdust.
Yeah, we built it.
Yeah. And so it was cold that day, and we were in cleats and gym shorts, no shirt, no pads, no helmet. And so the drill is you get on your hands and knees and you face your teammate, and so you got everybody else standing around you, and the coaches are standing there. And one of the coaches say, "All right, David, slap James." And I'd reach over there and just slap him as hard as I could. And then
no helmet?
No helmet.
Off season.
Yeah. And then he would say, "All right, James, you couldn't go. All right, James, slap David." And he would just slap you so hard to be marks. Ears would be ringing. And so you do that 2 or 3 times, and then they blow the whistle, and you would charge each other, and you would fight. And your goal was to pin him on his back and to take that mulch and throw it in his face and make him disabled to where he couldn't move anymore. So, things that somebody would go to jail for today, and probably should have gone to jail back then. But you walk around school and you knew what you had been through, and you knew those other people getting off the bus on Friday night hadn't done that.
And also, it helps you. You know what you went through, but not only yourself, but you know what your teammate. Your
teammate bonds you.
It's accountability.
Right.
I know he's not tougher than you, James.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I know he's not tougher than you.
Right.
And could you imagine Coach Simmons coaching today?
No. Well, he would do a lot of good, but he wouldn't last very long. It's today's world softer, kinder, gentler. And, James talking about his folks, my folks were phenomenal. But my dad's tougher than I am. He was tougher. And I'm sure your dad was tougher than you. And so kind of what the natural process is you want to make it easier on your family.
Yeah.
And so each generation gets a little easier, a little softer. So I'm sure my great-grandfather was real tough, just like you. It's a natural progression, and so, but it's a new day. It's a different day, and they have what they need now to move on. It's a different game. It's kind of. I go watch football now, and it's different. So I just have to get to that it's okay.
There's no Ronnie Lotz.
No.
There's no Steve Atwater.
Right.
There's no. Natron Means.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Jack Tatum broke Darryl Stingley's neck in the early 70s. And Jack Tatum was a safety for the Oakland Raiders. and Darrell Stingley was a wide receiver for New England. He came across the middle, and Jack Tatum speared him as he caught the ball and broke his neck, quadriplegic. The reporter asked Jack Tatum after the game, said, "Do you feel bad what happened to Darrell Stingley?" And Jack Tatum said, "No, he shouldn't have been coming across the middle." And so you talking about tough, you bring up Ronnie Lott, which is one of the best players ever. Ronnie Lott crushed his finger in between the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl and couldn't play, so he went and had his finger amputated
So
so he could play.
it's the mentality.
Yes. Yes.
Football is something that you can't. A kid can't play football for mom.
Right.
Can't play football for dad.
No.
It has to be in your blood.
That's right. That's right.
It's something. Mr. Boutwell have two sons that a couple years younger than me. When my senior year, one was a junior,
Right.
and one was a freshman. And I've never seen Mr. Boutwell play, but them boys was a pretty good linebacker.
Yeah.
Both of them played inside linebacker.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching them play.
Yeah, and I think even though I was a senior, my only edge over Jason was because I got hurt. I was injured, and so they wanted me to save me for the district game.
Right.
So Jason started that game, and I'm looking from that sideline, and am I gonna get my job back?
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
right.
The only thing I might have had a little quickness over here.
Yeah, right.
But just tough, hard nose.
Yeah.
Downhill linebacker.
Right.
The Boutwell Jet boys were some pretty good young men there, you know. So you tell me your best James Boutwell football story.
Well, I played center and James played right guard, and it was just a confidence thing to line up with him, because you knew that he was going to do his job, and just the intensity that he would come off the football with and make contact with people, and blocking 2 and 3 people on every play. It was just an honor, and it's looking back on it, it was a blessing. Then Mike Mangins to my left, and he's Ocala boy, and Samson Samuel was the left tackle, and just people we grew up with on that football team it's a bygone era.
Yeah.
So James and I, we know what our bond is, and I've never doubted him one day in my life because of what we went through 50 years ago.
That's right.
And it just really brings you together. So.
What about you, Mr. Boutwell? When you think of
Yeah, I got a good one for him, but I want to go back on what you were just saying just a second about that was our time back then. And people listening to your podcast, they're not going to understand, a lot of them today, what Dave has been saying and what Coach Simmons and everything was about. I mean, if back then, if those people, if this country had to go to war today, there'd be no doubt in my mind that it would, that we were there, that America was America. But as far as a good story, we were over in Palatka, playing the Palatka Braves.
was Palatka still tough back then?
They were. I got a couple of stories. Yeah, they were very tough, and I remember in the first quarter, David started acting funny, and so David, you okay? You remember that? And no, you don't remember. And anyway, he had gotten a pretty good lick to his head, and he, as far as I can remember, he had pretty much no memory of the rest of the game. And we were heading home, and he says, "By the way, what was the score?" But then
might explain a lot today.
Yeah, he probably would. But then we played Vanguard, the very first meeting between Vanguard and Forest High School.
Wow.
And that was in 71, I guess.
October.
Yeah. And wouldn't that have been 53 years ago now or something like that? Mm-hmm. But they had a nose tackle named Herbie Miller. Mm-hmm. And Herbie was a great guy. I went to middle school with him. He was a very good friend of ours. And he played head up on David. Jody Kahn played Vanguard's right defensive tackle, and Willie Bruton, I think Willie Bruton weighed.
He's over 300.
He was 300 and something. Jody Kahn was 265. Herbie Miller was about 190.
Who won that game?
We did. 9-7.
The
game.
Ocala.
The Ocala Forest
High
High
School.
School first game. But David, I'm gonna tell you though, they had these really big kids playing at the defensive tackles, but Herbie was by far the best defensive lineman. He was quick, he was powerful and strong, and David's helmet was ringing. I'm telling you, but David stayed. I don't know why most people would have run, but he stayed. And I remember as the game went on, he leaned over to Mike and he says, "Hey, can you give me a hand with Herbie?" Mike said, "Hey, I got Willie Bruton over here. He's like 315 pounds. I ain't got time." He leaned back over to me. He says, "James, can you help me out with Herbie?" I said, "Hey, I got Jody Kahn over here. He's a maniac. I don't have time." And then he just kind of straightened back up and looked ahead and went, "Okay." But, we got through it.
And, the communication on the offensive line, for a few years I was the offensive coordinator, and I got a saying. Now, this might stroke Mr. Lancaster ego here a little bit. My saying is the center, he may not be the most physical, it might not be the most athletic, but he's the smartest lineman on the offensive line. And, because the center, okay, what do you think about that statement?
Well, obviously, I think you're a brilliant guy.
What do you think about that, Mr. Boutwell?
When he's conscious, yes.
Yeah.
But, the center has to check everything. The center has to, you imagine, like you say, this monster's in front of you. You got to hack the ball and block this man. You know what I mean? And he's going on the height. You would have some quick hands, huh? So, obviously these linemen were bigger than you guys at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the key? What's the key when you're faced against a dominant defensive lineman that's bigger and that's stronger?
Well, exactly what we've been saying. It was our practices and our leadership from like Coach Simmons, our offensive line coach. I mean, I was totally convinced that I could beat anybody. I had no doubt whoever lined up I was going to whip them. And we spent more time probably blocking cornerbacks and safeties because we blocked them and Carlos Green would just be through the line of scrimmage, and we'd go on downfield. We didn't have time for them
So
anymore.
you trying to tell me in the 70s y'all was combo blocking?
Yes.
So you getting the defensive lineman and scraping on off to the secondary?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We got down the offside line with the backside line. That was downfield, buddy. You scrape them off because you're running left. You go downfield, and you had to hustle. Now we had some pretty good backs.
One thing about Coach Simmons, you're gonna be in shape.
Yeah.
And today, as I go around Marion County, and I go from school to school. I interview the coaches, interview the kids. I watch the practices. And even though Vanguard, they have the talent, but Coach Farmer worked them hard. He works them like we used to work. I graduated with Farmer.
Right.
Of course, I'm from the better school. I went to Ocala Forest High School, and he just only went to Vanguard.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I remind him that every time I see him. Too. But he works them hard.
He's a wonderful man.
Coming on the field, you're not going to be in better shape. You're not going to be stronger. You know what I'm saying? And he have a lot of talent over there. So, he works them hard, and that's something that's. And I watch these kids go there in the summer, loving it, and it's just a different kind of atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? But I also went out to Forest High School. I think Coach Cullen do an excellent job. It was time they would practice at 5:30 in the morning, so they could, where the rain would stop them and the heat. That kind of goes back to, the different generations.
Right.
We don't want them out in the sun.
Right. Yeah.
That's a different thing. But y'all gentlemen, tell me, how did football help you transition into adulthood? What lessons you learned from football that catapulted you gentlemen to be so successful as the men you are today?
Well, I've got two additional stories before I get to your question. One of my best memories is I blocked 4 people in one play. I knocked the nose man down. I scraped the backside linebacker and turned him, blocked the defensive end on the backside, and then turned, and I blocked the corner on the opposite side of the field where it was toss sweep right for them to score a touchdown. So I think I still hold a record for that. And in the Vanguard game, 9-7, they were 3-1 on the year. We were 1-3 and had lost our junior year. And they had guest pickers in the newspapers. The newspaper used to do a great job of writing up local sports. It was on the front page of the sports page.
Yeah.
It had all the pictures of the starters and a quote from each team. And so every guest picker, they'd have like 10 guest pickers to pick the score of the game. 100% of them picked Vanguard. It's, and probably what I would have picked also. And so the score was tied 7-7. And our punter, what were we on, about the 50-yard line?
Probably.
Yeah. And
Gene Wilkinson.
Gene Wilkinson just had a great punt. And the ball, I saw a college game that this year that probably had the same thing. It landed like at the extra point stripe on the 3-yard line and did a 90-degree turn and went out of bounds on the 2-yard line. And so was it the next play or the second? Very next play, we sacked their quarterback in the end zone for a safety, so the score was 9-7, and we won the first.
The paper said he slipped.
Yeah, well, see.
It's as I sit here and watch you gentlemen, tell these stories.
Right.
And it's one of you guys telling the story that you can see it playing in the other one mind.
Right.
It's 50 years ago.
That's right. Right.
That's what football does.
That's right.
That's what teamwork. Mr. Boutwell also went to the military.
Right.
And how did having the unity and teamwork in football transcend into your military career, sir?
Well, I was very much a homeboy. When I got away from home, I found out that I belonged back. I wanted to be back home very much. But the discipline, military is very disciplined, especially back then. I mean, you had your job to do. You had to do it well, or, you met the consequences. It's just like football and life, and just life in general. I mean, not just the military, but every aspect of my life has been affected by that game, and I don't think that I could have cope with life the way I have on the level, without some of those experiences.
And both of you gentlemen also went back and coached. How was it like to be? It's a different kind of pride. I remember I graduated in '92, and my first year coaching at the Forest was like '96 maybe. And I'm in over. They had the little jamboree, and when the coach over there giving the speech, I had to realize I'm not going to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm getting pumped up. I'm ready to grow.
Right.
And it's something. It's football is special. Football is something that, like I say, it has to be in your blood. And you guys played offensive linemen, and I got an outstanding argument with one of my best friends. We both played linebacker, and he would line up with his hands on his knees. I didn't line up like that. I lined up with my hand out in front of me so I could easily go from left to right. So if I'm lining up with my hands on my knees, I got to lift my hands on my knees. I'm losing a step.
Right.
As an offensive lineman, what was the things you look for? Because on a running play, which we did 90% of the time, if you block the linebacker, you got a successful play.
That's right.
What's some of the keys from an offensive lineman perspective?
Well, one thing that I know is that when we sprint to the ball, and I'm not talking 90%, it's a full-on sprint where you almost fall down. And when you come across a team that hadn't seen that, they'd almost kind of chuckle at you in the first quarter, like y'all are wasting your energy and this is the dumbest thing. But after you pound them, through face-off drill and contact, and basically in the third quarter when you're wearing them down and you're still sprinting to the ball full speed and they're breathing a little deep, you hear them. Sometimes you'd hear them say, "Oh no, here they come again."
All of a sudden,
Here they come again, and they're relentless. And so those things, you look at it and you look in their eyes and you can see it fading.
Yeah.
And so when people put their hands on their knees, it's like Nick Saban would never let any of his players put their hands on their knees, because that means you're fighting for air and you're showing weakness. And so you look for things like that. When you come up to the line of scrimmage and they're still on one of their knees and they're slow to get up, you're getting them where they need to be. When they start concentrating on you instead of their reads through the quarterback to the tailback, you're doing your job. And the other thing about being an offensive lineman, it's a great way to train somebody to be a dad. Because you're going to do all the work and you're not going to get very low credit at all, but it makes you have a innate love for the game, and because you're not going to get your name in the paper unless you make a mistake, generally, and that's kind of what life is. You got to get up and you go to work, and you don't expect to be thanked for it. You don't expect to be appreciated for it, but you do it out of love and the kindness for your teammates or your family.
And a lot of other people get the glory. It's the running back. It's the wide receiver. It's the quarterback. But none of that works without you two gentlemen.
That's right.
None of it.
Yeah.
Especially you, because you touch the ball each and every. You can every play can be a disaster because of you.
That's right.
Especially nowadays when they shotgun every play.
Yeah.
They don't even have tight ends on the field.
Or a fullback. I miss a fullback. I miss a fullback. Something awful.
I just can't.
Yeah.
I mean, they go for fourth down. You going for fourth down with 4 wide receivers.
Right.
I mean, it just seems like it would just have so much. Just slide him in the tight end.
Right.
You can't crack block anymore.
No.
You running a no-huddle offense. The ref blow the whistle. It's a water break. And as we get educated, as we know better, we do better.
Right.
I mean, we understand the importance of concussions.
Yeah.
And, we sit here today, and I think about my surgery I had. I wonder, they like, well, what is it? Something had to happen. I'm thinking, I had a couple of Palaka incidents. You know what I mean? But we live and we learn.
Right.
We become better people. Like I say, when we know better, we do better. I had an offensive lineman. I used to call him Vanderbilt. That wasn't his last name, but I give him nicknames. And I implemented the sprint to the line of scrimmage because that's where all I knew. And we would win most of the time. And we was playing against. Matter of fact, I think it was Palaco. And it was our first time losing the score. We was tied, we was winning 14-12 at halftime.
Right.
And when they kicked the ball off to us, we fumbled at halftime. And on the first play, he bust up the middle and scored. They couldn't kick extra points, so now it's 18-14.
Right.
We're losing. And my offensive lineman, he was the guard. And when we broke the huddle, he was sprinting to the line of scrimmage.
Right.
And he's screaming. He want to get him.
Right.
He wants to get him so bad.
Right.
So you know what I started doing on the sideline?
Yeah.
Screaming too.
Yeah.
And and it's so important as a coach. The kids feed off of you.
That's right.
They playing because they love the game, but they're trying to please you.
That's right.
You're the parent. I want to make dad proud. I want to make coach proud. And that's so important. And from you gentlemen being coaches, do you understand the impact you have on the kids' life?
Oh, it's the best ever. Winning and losing it. Exactly 50% of high school football teams across America lose every Friday night. So 50% win, 50% lose. So
You said he was the smartest guy on the line.
so it's a big number, right?
Hey, that was a Jim Simmons answer there.
Yeah. So you have to look at what else is there besides winning and losing, and it comes down to relationships. And my $1 million check in life is on Father's Day when players call me and tell me Happy Father's Day. And those kind of lifelong connections, I got goosebumps now. And when you have, I've had kids that were involved in unlawful activity, whatever it was, and you reach down, and once you get a kid like that to figure out that you care about him and you love him, he'll do anything for you. He will run through that brick wall. Now, if you just coach him hard and yell at him, he'll try. But once you establish that relationship, he will literally run through a brick wall. And so those relationships are lifelong. And that's the impact that you can have on a young person, and making a difference to one person. 1% at a time, you just keep building with that.
Or to hear them on the street, you'll hear, Coach.
Yeah.
You turn around, you're looking, you see a guy with white hair.
Yeah.
You're going,
Well, wait a minute.
You see a face, and you start to say, hey, wait, I know him. You know, and he's calling Coach, Coach, he hugs your neck.
Yeah.
And you know that you made a difference in his life. And
That's right.
I hope people today and can understand what that meant and what we're really missing, like these no-huddle offenses. Man, they don't know what they're missing in those huddles. We used to have some really good conversations in those huddles, man. Wasn't a few seconds, but I mean, they were powerful, you know.
And to be able to, you can tell him, hey, this guy's giving up. Look at him.
Yeah. Look at, he's got his hands on his hips, and you go up to the line and go, what's the matter? Your side hurting? And you get a penalty now. But,
what about the trash talk? You know, when you see him, did you give him any trash talk?
Well, I'd say not too much. We were told, actually, you were terrified to get a penalty, but you'd get your shot in every once in a while. Like David was saying earlier about that you'd come up. I remember the Seabreeze game where we come up to the line. They played two defensive guards, I'd call them, in each side of the center. They were in our gaps on each side, and the guy, and talking about sprinting to the line, it was about halfway through the third quarter, and I remember he was down on his hands and knees, and he was just trying. He was getting up to his feet, and he looked over at the other guy on defense, and he said, "Here they come again." And I mean, we just boomed straight up to the line, and I'm going, hold on to that side. We're coming again.
You know, there's something about, as an offensive lineman, you're using physical strength each and every snap. I mean, was it harder for you gentlemen? Each one of you could answer this. You rather for a guy to be head up or in the gap?
Would I rather head up or in the gap? It didn't matter.
I'd rather be in the gap because you'd automatically have an angle.
Well, he had our help.
Now, I perceive that you guys are honest men, correct?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb right here. I'm going to ask a question. You going to be truthful?
Yeah.
Which one of you was the better player?
Tell him, David.
James was, because God struck him with lightning. He had size and strength. All I had, my nickname was Skinny, if you can believe that.
Oh, yeah.
And so all I had was attitude. And he just used what God gave him,
Who got the trophy?
Well, the reason he got the best offensive lineman trophy was because of that Vanguard game. I was leading with a percentage of the offensive line blocking score. We go check that bulletin board every Monday, and I was leading, and I had my chest stuck out, and so I didn't score good in the Vanguard game, and so he won the trophy, and so he's really forgotten about it. It's only been 53 years, and he's let me up.
Well, I think I took the lead, actually, the game before, the Leesburg game. Leesburg won the district that year. They had a defensive tackle on he'd been on the other side of David. He actually went on and played at Florida State, but he wasn't real smart. because he would. I mean, he never looked inside, and when he didn't get blocked, he went unblocked. On the tackle wouldn't block. Our tackle wouldn't block him because he was my trap. And he would just come across and stand straight up. And this guy was like 6'6". You remember him? He was big. He played and started at Florida State, and I can't remember his name.
But see, some of that's the scheme. I mean,
but he just couldn't figure it out. And I mean, I think I graded out somewhere around 96-97% that game, and it was a piece of cake.
you know, it's funny because the same thing you gentlemen was doing in the 70s. When I graduated in the 90s, the program was doing the same thing.
Right.
Tradition.
You don't change success. That's right.
And you know, they would grade the film. The coaches would grade the film, and then there you have your score up there and everything of that nature. The same thing they was doing back in the 70s. They was doing in the 90s.
Yeah.
And you know that.
Power Iron? Did y'all run the Power Iron?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, my year was the only year that they ever switched it up. Coach Mitchell actually coached offense, and Coach Horner coached defense. And one thing about me, the coaches respected my my study skills. You know, I only had 3 classes my senior year, so I would go up in the coach office and watch film. So when I see a tall sweep, I know who's coming to get me. You know, some of them are reach block, some of them pull the guard, some of them block down. So if there was a pulling guard and the tight end coming to get me, I know about, you know what I mean, if he pretty good, I got to shoot this gap. I better get there, you know, and the coaches, you know, and Coach Horner would give me a little leeway. Sometimes he'll call the play in and I wave it off and show him my play. Go ahead and run it, Will. You know, and so I had a little leeway. I don't know about it being able to do that with Coach Mitchell. I don't think that would happen. You know Coach Mitchell?
Real well. I got a lot of respect for Coach Mitchell. He's really knows the game and was a player's coach.
Coach Simmons said he's the best defensive coordinator he's in high school.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Yeah,
He's a brilliant.
I'd agree with that.
Have Coach Simmons ever got you gentlemen out on that racquetball court?
That he's taken quite a bit of my money.
He was still doing that back then?
No, well, they built the racquetball courts after we graduated, but we would play around town, and then we'd come back there, and he was really good. He got to where he could beat Coach Mitchell, and Coach Mitchell was excellent.
He he was king of Chipperville. If you know what Chipperville, that was the wood shop there at Forest when they used to have those kind of things.
Yeah, I remember the wood shop.
Wood shop, called it Chipperville. Well, some kid built a pool table. We had a plywood deck on it. I mean, it was terrible. You couldn't play real pool. But anyway, we would get some sticks and put tennis balls on it so they would bounce around, and we would play tennis with the tennis balls and these sticks and bang them around. And he would take cheese whoppers costed 35 cents. I'll never forget what it costed, because every day I'd have to go, the way I had to pay him for losing in the pool game was go buy him cheese whoppers. So I'd have to go down there and buy 2 or 3 cheese whoppers, and he'd eat them. And
you talking about Coach Simmons?
Yeah. I'd drive down to Burger King. This is during school. I mean, you could leave school, and I'd drive down to Burger King, get some cheese whoppers, bring them, spend $1, bring him back 3 cheese whoppers. Here you go. Here's your cheese whoppers.
I think Bob McCall still owes Coach Simmons about 60 cheese whoppers. And Joe Fontana and Stuart McCallum are on that train too.
You know, when the genius of Coach Simmons is that I play inside linebacker, and when you hold a racket in your hand, you're in your linebacker stance, and you're reading and reacting. You know what I mean? Of course, he's been playing for years.
Right.
Got a $200 racket. I'm a kid with a Walmart racket.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I got, you know what I mean? The advantage is all Coach Simmons.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
And, you know, you're afraid of him, so you can't. He's in the way. You better not hit him. You know what I'm saying? So he used to put it on me. So after I graduated, I used to see him at 2 Year Health Spar here. And I had never played in the four walls. You ever played four walls? So I couldn't wrap my mind around the ball coming off the back wall. But you know, he's not going to spare you.
No.
He's going to talk trash and kick your butt. You know, so. But I'm off of his tree. Right. I'm the same thing you was. Yeah. So it got to the point when the game get down to the wire, he would stand there in the middle. You know. Yeah. Yeah. You know, winning is the only thing matters.
That's right.
And I'm just like him. So I'll pop him in the back a few times.
Sure.
You know, with the ball.
Make him pay for it.
So he'll take it a time or two, but a couple times he'll, you know, turn around, you know, son, you know, da. And, you know, I tell him, man, you got to get out the way. You know what I'm saying? Get out the way. You know,
he'd hinder you.
Yeah.
James liked racquetball so much he built a racquetball court at his house.
Oh, yeah?
Played all the time.
Four wall. Yeah.
What? You still got a little something?
Do I what now?
You still got a little something?
I could still play. I could dink you and
now service
do some sealing balls, but moving it'd be getting a little slow at that.
Man, you got that serve.
Well, I could serve.
That serve, I put that Serena Williams on you. You know what I mean? She still half of the points off the serve.
You can serve that ball, and if you serve that lob right, and you could just send it up there and drop it in that backhand corner back there, and the guy would look like an idiot trying to dig it out, and he can't do it, and you could just do it all day.
And you get it right. Yeah. And see, and if you get him to where even if he hits it, he's setting you up. You know what I mean? You got a kill shot. You know, and they want to play for real. You know, all you got is a serve. That's all I need, you know. And most of it's mental. You know, Coach Simmons is a trash talker.
That's right.
You know.
Try to get inside your head.
Oh yeah, that's big.
And it's it's just so much that we take from him unconsciously. You know, when you were a kid, you look up to this man. This man was like Bobby Bowden. You know, when you come for us, you know, you was there from the beginning with him. Right. And you know, like Mr. Boutwell said, he seen him on the sideline the year before. That's that guy. You know what I mean? Imagine after 20 years of coaching and I come on the scene, you heard so much about him. Right. You know, and he
got all that lore.
Right. You know, so it was like, you know, he was so big and giant to us. You know what I mean? But Coach Simmons taught me a lot. You know, I set my watch 10 minutes fast right now today because of that man. Not my father, not my uncle, not my grandfather, but that man, you know, taught me that, you know. So let's talk about family. Okay. You know, we all matured. We all got a little gray hair here and there. So how important is family and, you know, and how, you know, what does it mean to you to have a family? As we grow older, we have wives and children, and I'm quite sure we all grandfathers by now, right?
Right. It's that's the icing on the cake is family, and you are just thankful and grateful for them. You know, I got 4 grandchildren and another one on the way right now, and used to be several years ago when my grandkids would come over, I would visualize them breaking something. And then when they get to my house and break it, I'd say, honey, that's okay, let me clean it up. And my son would say, where in the world was that guy when I was a kid? You know, because now I'm almost ready to be a daddy at my age. And you just realize how special them grandkids are. I absolutely love seeing them walk in the door, and absolutely love seeing them walk out the door after you get your dose of them, you know, because they will wear you out.
After you give them all the sugar.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. And but no, it's what it's all about.
You know, Mr. Boutwell, why is it that, you know, when we see you got sons, you know, of course, our son, every man wants a son. Look at my boy. Look at my boy. But tell me the difference is when you see that grandson, that grandchild, that granddaughter.
Like David said, that you've got such a responsibility with your own kids. I mean, it just takes you know, everything you got to try to teach them to be good men, to grow up and be men and be responsible. And so you got to be responsible, which is a great thing, to teach your kid to be responsible, be on time, be where you're supposed to be, do the right thing, treat people like you want to be treated. When that grandbaby comes along, you know, they can't do anything wrong. I mean, I would threaten my own boys and my daughter. I'd say, look, don't get on to him or her. I mean, that's okay. It's okay for them to break that, or it's okay to eat that. What you mean your dad wouldn't hear? Eat it. You know, it don't matter to me what he said. And it just, that not having that, I mean, it isn't that you don't try to raise them the best you can. It's just you won't spoil them. And I'm all for that. I've had a lot of experience in spoiling them. I love doing it.
And you know, as we, like you gentlemen said earlier, you know, each generation, you want it to be life to be easier. That's the reason why you work so hard, so your son don't have to do it. And you know, you taught them things so your grandchildren don't have to do it. You know, it's so important, and the kids learn early. Oh, grandpa is sweet. Oh, I can get anything from grandpa. So you think when it comes to the grandparents, who's more prone to give them the sweet? You guys or the grandmother? Which would be your wives or whatever.
That'd be the grandmother at my house.
Oh yeah, I'd say so. But I don't think I ever recall turning them down. You know, I might be the one because she would try to do right half the time, and you know, I mean, she always. I mean, if he needed his diaper changed, it was always here. Go change his diaper and all this stuff, and give him back to me when it's all ready. But I think the sweets and stuff, all the stuff. Yeah, I think it might be me.
Might be you.
Yeah, Lisa. Well, they were over this weekend, and Lisa cooked them. You know, the pancakes, blueberry pancakes, and chocolate chip pancakes, and made them homemade ice cream, and so it's they get their sweet tooth from their grandmama.
Yeah, you know, you guys have siblings.
Yes, sir. My brother played at the very first Forest High School team in 1970 and graduated in 71. And James and I, maybe a little side note, we voted on the name Forest High School because integration happened, our sophomore year, freshman year?
Yeah, one of the two.
And so there was Howard High School, which is where Howard Middle School was, and their colors were blue, gold, and white.
Right.
And so Ocala High School was green and white, and so Forest adopted the gold from Howard High School, so it's green, gold, and white. And then Vanguard took the blue from Howard High School, so they're red and white.
I'm so glad you said that because a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
And someone mentioned that to me.
Right.
But he was a little younger than me, so I hadn't done no research.
Right.
You know, but you guys lived that.
Yeah. So
you know,
in Ocala High School, when I was a kid in the 60s, my dad would take me to the Ocala High School games at Webb Stadium on 40, the old CCC Stadium. That concrete thing they tore down.
That's where Ocala Forest played their games at?
Well, Ocala High School played their games. James and I played in the last game at Webb Stadium, in the first game at Booster Stadium.
Right.
But we would go see Ocala High School play on Friday night, and then Daddy would take us back out there to watch Howard High School play on Saturday night.
So let me ask you something. I heard a lot about this Howard High School. Was Howard good back then?
Oh Lord, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they were famous.
So how old are you gentlemen?
70.
Emotionally, I'm 16. No, I'm 70.
He's as old as me.
I'm 70 also.
I have an uncle. Well, he's really a cousin, but he's the oldest person in our family living right now.
Right.
And my grandmother just passed, but he is December the 5th. December the 5th, he'll be 70. His name is Willie Wilkerson.
Willie
Wilkerson.
I think he played like fullback or running back or something.
At Howard.
At Howard.
And it was in late 60s?
I'm saying he is 69 now. He'll be 70.
So he's our
okay,
age.
okay.
He's our age.
Okay.
And he always, but on Howard Bulls,
Howard High School Wild Bulls.
Well, you hadn't seen a game till you saw them play out of the Gainesville Red Terriers.
Right.
Yes, that used to be the school.
I can imagine the atmosphere at Will Webb Stadium. You got old concrete around there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's they still have little games out there and things like that. The MCY, the kid Pop Warner, I think it is.
I can still see it.
There was an old country store across the street, had a screen door on it, across the street from Webb Field. It's tore down now. But it had like a vegetable stand, and you could get little groceries or Coca-Cola in there. And we would always stop. They had Parks peanuts that they would have those peanuts, and then we'd get our peanuts, and then we'd cross the street and go over there and go to the games.
You guys said that in it was integration during y'all sophomore year?
Yes, sir.
I believe that's right.
What was that? What was those times like? What was it like?
It was it was the right thing to do, and but the federal government, the federal government can screw anything up. So you take Howard High School and you take their tradition away from them, something that they've had for years and generations. You take Ocala High School and you take that tradition away from them, and you shove these full-grown men together that we don't know we're supposed to get along, or I had to give this up because of you, and you had to give this up because of me, and now you're agitated.
Right.
What would have happened if the federal government said, we're going to start this program in kindergarten?
Right.
You used to go kindergarten and first grade, second grade, and then when you get to be a senior,
it's normal.
It's what I've always done. But
and it's like you said, you were 6 months from being an adult.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it's harder for adults to, because we rationalize and reason different, and sometimes we're even raised different with different mind frames.
That's right.
Kids are kids.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But on our football team, that did not matter.
It didn't matter at all. Yeah.
And now that you talk about what football was, that was one of the things that football was and is.
And it blended, and there were fights at school. I remember one time my sophomore year, between the auditorium and the cafeteria, it seemed like there were 100 people fighting there. And fights all over. I'm telling you, it was big. So the next day, at the front circle of the Forest High School was bumper-to-bumper cop cars. There were police in the school with riot helmets on, and there were police circling the school, on the roads. And but there wasn't a hint of that on our football team.
Right.
And because I knew you knew me, we knew what we were about, and but all that came to pass. It was just a rough patch to where we could get to where, hey, it's all okay. It's all okay.
And sports has always done that.
Right. The leveling is the
Sports
leveling in the.
When it comes to ignorance, because all that matters is we have a common goal.
That's right.
And that's the difference. That when people, no matter who you are, what you are, if you have a common goal, you're more prone to be on the same page.
Yeah.
But it's when there's not a common goal. When I see it my way and you see it your way, it's easy to look at that person as an opposition.
Right.
And and even today, in today's world, I may not like this guy, but he's on our team. He played for the Miami Dolphins now.
Right.
Lord bless my Miami Dolphins.
Right.
But he played for the Miami Dolphins, so he's my favorite player.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
And but I guess living in those days, those times, and that wasn't very long ago.
Right. Yeah.
And to see you men today, us sitting here together on this platform. And like I say, I played with Mr. Boutwell's sons. His wife taught me. And like he was saying, I bumped into her about 3 months ago in the Dollar General. And so we talking, so we to the cashier, and she's like, she's like, he used to be my student. And the lady at the cashier, looking at all this great beard, Miss Boutwell, still a beautiful woman. It's like, you taught him, I'm the one can't walk and she's walking better than me. But it's just funny how they go, man, and the people that impact your life. And sometimes, like I was telling Mr. Boutwell, this is my first time meeting him. Well, I remember him from when we played and he used to come to the games and practices. I wish I could find that team mom my senior year who made those brownies.
Right.
I have not eaten those type of brownies. All my life I've been searching. I'm serious. You try different ones.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
that lady. I wonder if you could find out who was the team mom.
Is this 91 or 2?
This the 91 season.
Yeah.
You find that team mom for me.
All right.
We're going to pray to God she's still living.
Yeah. You get that recipe?
Those was the best brownies I've ever had in my
That's
life.
good. It's fun.
Yes. But you know, even when we think about the adversities in life, you know, it has to be a foundation.
Right.
In family, in life, in business. Mr. Boutwell, what's your foundation, sir?
Oh, that'd be Jesus Christ.
Amen.
That's my foundation.
Amen. So basically, no matter, you know, I got a thing with my wife where she think this way, I think that way. Well, let's just go see what Jesus said, and that's the bottom line.
Right.
You know, so you know we can't go against the foundation.
Right.
And you know, what about you, Mr. Lancaster? What is your foundation?
Well, I'm with James, the Lord. Jesus is the only thing significant enough in the history of the world to stop the calendar and start it over again. You look at all the significant events, you know, the dinosaurs or the wars or whatever, Columbus. They didn't stop the calendar for them. They stopped the calendar for Jesus and started it back over again. And I like who Jesus hung out with because, you know, he hung out with the dregs of society and told them that, you know, I'm going to take care of you. And just his teachings and his love and his compassion and his forgiveness of me makes me want to be a better man to where I can forgive others for their slights on me. And but Jesus is my foundation.
And you know, speaking of foundation, you know, you gentlemen, you know, nowadays y'all building a lot of foundations, huh? So both of you gentlemen are in construction, right?
Right.
You know?
Yes,
so
sir.
y'all build. You know, you in heavy construction,
Right.
correct?
Right.
What do you mean by heavy construction?
Road work, infrastructure stuff like water and sewer,
Okay.
earth moving.
Okay. What about you, Mr. Lancaster?
The same. My dad was a contractor his whole life, so I grew up. I got construction at the supper table, but now I'm working for Matt Rudiani, and he's basically in the same business, heavy construction and road work, underground work, that sort of thing, and they've done a great job. He was a great football player at Forest High School. You talking about mentally tough? I remember I went over and watched Forest play the land. And he separated his shoulder and wouldn't come out of the game. And so they finally had to take his helmet away to keep him from sneaking back in the game. But that's that Forest High School mental toughness.
It is. You know, I remember my first year out the Forest. You know, I'm out there. I tell the kids to take 2 laps, and they like throwing up. And I'm saying to myself, "Oh my God, what I got myself into."
Yeah.
But those kids nowadays they're more skilled than we were at the skill positions.
Yes, sir.
They're more skilled. In a sense, they're more smarter. They can rationalize, but they're not tougher. They're not as hands-on as we were.
Right.
And I think that, you know, if I ask you guys, I wouldn't even ask you, who would win out of your team and a team today?
The team on the same level would today. They're bigger. I don't know why.
Stronger, faster, probably.
It must be the fast food restaurants.
The
That's
hormones they take
That's the
in,
only
you
thing
know.
different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if you took your senior year, your best season,
Yeah.
you think a team today would beat that team?
I would say so. Yeah.
You know,
Now, if you could make it, you know, they did the fight between Ali and Rocky Marciano. You know, the computer fight.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's hard to say. They used to say that about Nebraska. You know, the '72 team in Nebraska. They say that's the greatest college team ever. But you look at the teams today. They're just bigger.
we were our offensive line average 165 pounds.
Now they weigh.
We're 165 pounds,
yes.
and
Oh,
so
yes.
so you know, you look at offensive lines now, and they don't come off the football. It's they just kind of hold each other.
Do different.
So if we came off the football and struck their defensive line like they'd never been struck, maybe. But they would they're faster than us, bigger than us, and certainly stronger than we were. We implemented the weight program our junior year, or Coach Simmons did, and so they weren't lifting weights for forever.
The nature of the question, the rules are different.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'd be thrown out like that.
Yeah, we'd be. Yeah, it's mental toughness against the finesse.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different. It's just different rules.
And it's so funny for me to meet you two men, and both of you guys' answer to that question tells me a lot. It's like, Mr. Boutwell is kind of like, yeah, they probably would. They're big a little bit, and Mr. Lancaster like, yeah, but, we
got a chance. You're saying there's a chance?
We would show up.
We ain't going to give it to them like that. You got to play the game.
That's right.
And Vanderbilt just whooped Alabama.
That's right.
Yeah, who knows?
You guys whooped Vanguard that year.
That's right.
Hey,
Well, it's like when we were coaching, the fire department wanted to play us for a fundraiser, so they got the Marion County coaches playing the fire department, and I think we broke 2 of their legs, and broke some. They had to cancel the game because we broke them up so bad. They were bigger and stronger than we were.
So let me ask you guys something. So if they came to you after the game and say, "Well, do you feel sorry for breaking his leg?" What would have been your answer?
Oh, absolutely. I feel bad, and I feel bad. You shouldn't have run across the middle. But, I'm sorry you made a poor decision tonight and showed up here.
I used to make a statement, and this is going to sound harsh, but as a football player, I used to say, if my mother put on that other helmet, if I'm the linebacker and she's running the ball, I only know one way.
Yeah.
That's wide open. I'm sorry, Mama. Yeah. You should have known I'm not going to play against my son. Because you can't, Coach Simmons coached offensive lineman. I'm an inside linebacker.
Right.
So, I had a little more leeway with Coach Simmons because as a kid, they had this summer program where when you're a kid and you can work during the summer.
Right.
Coach Simmons was my boss.
Right.
So we kind of formed a different kind of relationship. So I could kind of get away with a little more. But too, he'd give me that, I know when the line is, but I run up to it,
right.
And his offensive lineman is to get me, job to get me. But I'm talking junk. I'm out there wide open. I'm talking junk. I'm the vocal leader. Coach said they trash your offensive line. I could talk a little junk to him. And we had a guy by the name of Tony McCall.
Yeah, I remember him.
And Tony McCall was my very good friend on the team. But, Tony was the fastest guy in the world.
World-class athlete.
World-class sprinter.
Right. And my strength was my quickness. Of course, I can't outrun Tony. But for those 20 yards to that sideline over there, I'm going to meet you. And I only can know to run full speed. I don't know if y'all remember Aaron Carp.
Yes.
Yeah.
6'6", about 285.
He went to Liberty.
Aaron Carp. And we call him Stank Pants. Because the whole season, he never washed his pants.
Oh, Lord.
Just the whole locker room would smell better. We just washed Aaron Carp's pants,
Who was that on our team who did that? They sewed his pants together, I remember, because he was so big.
Yeah.
Had to wear 2 pair of football pants. I can't remember his name.
Well, we had a guy named Lamar Thomas, Truck. We called him Truck. Truck was the big
Truck,
guy.
I remember Truck.
Truck was big. You had Terry Bryant, was Bear.
Bear.
Coach Simmons, I'm going to have to call Coach Simmons. Coach Simmons said Terry Bryant was the best offensive lineman he ever coached.
Well, that was before he considered James and me. I mean, I'm sure he's probably the 3rd best offensive lineman.
Now, Bear was jet black, super black, red eyes. I mean, you looking at a real black bear when you look through that helmet. He said he was like the strongest guy. He would set all the deadlift.
Yeah.
He was like, and he was so quick.
Yeah.
He made me the best linebacker I could be because when I'm facing a game, I'm facing against nobody. Nobody has a bear.
Right.
And it was only one play where he would come and get me. Most of the time he's pulling or trapping. And And Coach Simmons, I talk too much junk. Coach Simmons will say he don't make it a secret. He just called to play for Bear to come get me. I know it's coming. You know what I'm saying? But what can I do? You know, it's Bear. You know, so I just thought all I could do is just go straight ahead and cut his feet from under and make a pile. You know, but one time that joker crowd me all the way to the telegram.
Yeah.
But I got his check with Coach Simmons.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
so you guys, you believe if I was to call Coach Simmons right now and ask him who was the best offensive lineman he ever coached, who you think he gonna say?
He would probably say who you said, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Dave or I, either one, have any delusions about how great we were.
No.
I think we do believe that we worked hard. We had tremendous heart. And we wasn't going to give up. We
weren't no quit.
surrender. We weren't going to quit. And it wouldn't have mattered how bad it got. We were not going to give up.
And you know, Coach Simmons is.
And he taught us that.
Coach Simmons is blunt. Coach Simmons one of the most honest, truth-telling people I've ever met in my life. If you don't want to know the answer, do not ask him.
Right.
That's one thing I can say. Yeah. He's not going to give nobody a flower that they don't deserve.
Right.
And, you know, Bear was, like you said, you guys were 165. Coach Simmons understand the way the game translated. And, you know, in your time, you might have been very good, but he know that if you line up against this 265 monster, you know.
The physics just won't work.
I'm going to get him 4 out of it. I'm going to get him 4 out of 10.
Yeah, but we're most likely to run our finger in his eye.
Yeah, we'll do something.
So he's going to be thinking about his eye, not football.
You know, I tell you, gentlemen, what I would have loved to have the line up against you guys.
I would have liked that too.
Yeah, it'd have been fun.
You know, I wasn't big. I was like 185, 190. You know, 5'10" and a half. You know, very, very, very quick.
Yeah, that's everything in football.
That was
quickness.
I could read. I could decipher. See, me, I tell my friend, you know, my best friend is an inside linebacker. You know, a couple years younger than me, and I tell him, I say the offensive guard is going to take you to the ball every time.
Right.
And we ran a 3-4 defense, so you got a nose guard in front of you.
Right.
I'm lining up in front of you, Mr. Boutwell, and if you block down, the ball's coming at me. You pull. If you know what I'm saying, if y'all line up just like you're pulling right now, and you pull left, that means that you're pulling the kick out, and the tight end is coming to get me. I mean, so I understood the game.
Well, if the guard's blocking down, you're looking for a fullback then.
Yeah, coming
because he's coming at you. It's an ISO play. You know what's coming.
Bottom line, it's just the guard is going to take you to the play. It's just simple as that, you know. And I look at sometimes NFL games and they'll pull the guard on a passing play just to so the linebacker don't
a false pull.
Right. So let's talk about, like I say, you guys are in construction. You know, what got you guys into construction? Why construction?
Well, I think construction found us. You know, it is just what I knew from my dad. And so built houses, built commercial buildings, and just knew construction is no different than coaching football because it's just people. You got to motivate people. You got to line them up. You got to coach them enough to give them enough information to be successful. You got to encourage them. You got to build their confidence and believe in them. And so the construction business, the fun part to me about the construction business is what I call the diesel smoke side of the business. That's when you're breaking something and putting it back together. And, you know, the permit part and the paperwork and all that other stuff, that sucks the fun out of it. But you get to be around all these big Tonka toys, and it's no different than when you were 7 moving dirt, you know.
Yeah.
You know, back then, Ocala, it's really not today that much, but wasn't an industrial town. It was a small town. It was right on the verge of invasion of the North, more or less, people moving here and the population booming and construction, housing and subdivisions and things like that was what was fixing to happen or were happening. If you think that during that time, Silver Spring Shores down there, Marion Oaks, these huge, gigantic developments was just starting. And that was what you did here. It wasn't, like he said, they found you because that was what was available. Either
The opportunity.
You were a farmer or you did something along the lines of construction. And you wasn't building cars in a factory, that's for sure.
Well, I know when I smile, and it's a good thing. The horse farms forever. Trying to protect the horse farms in Northwest Marion County. But I have to smile. What happened to the vegetable farms forever? Yeah. Because all these people came down here and bought these farmers' land that were growing peanuts and corn and tomatoes and made them horse farms. And they, used to go out and pick vegetables with your parents. And so I miss that. So it's just gotten to be a lot more profitable for developers to plant a Yankee than it is to plant corn.
It's funny, I'm not a political guy by no means. But lately we had the candidates for the sheriff and Mr. Busby. I don't know if you was...
I met him.
Mr. Busby, I was fortunate enough to help him with his campaign. It's just, I never met Mr. Woods. I just met this man and he just happened to offer me the situation.
Right.
So I don't have a either or. All I know is what I know.
Right.
And I had a job to do. But I learned a lot. And a lot of times, a lot of the stickler points was the, what's the word? When you build a home, and who paid the taxes? Yeah. The homeowner or the builder?
Right.
And that was big. Right. That was very big topics.
Right. The impact fees.
The impact fee. That's right. Why is that such a big deal? I mean. Well,
it impacts what's happening, and so when you have an impact fee tied to the house or tied to a commercial job, that money's supposed to go to building roads and building schools. They say that we're going to need $1 billion worth of school work with new schools with all the people moving in. And so who's going to shoulder that burden? Are you going to shoulder that burden by having higher taxes on your house? Am I going to shoulder the burden by having a higher sales tax, or it'd be a user tax to have the homeowner that buys a new house that's going to impact it?
So it's basically it's almost like inflation. Like, okay, well, we're going to pay more. Okay, we'll just charge more.
Right.
So it's basically it's going to equal out.
Yeah.
I like the user part.
Right.
Yeah, I think the user tax is the way you're going to solve it.
Right.
So 3 months to build it, 30 years to pay for it.
Right. Yeah.
How does that? I mean, you think about a home. You build. I always want to lay block. I don't.
Right.
I just always had a passion to lay block. It's just
that's a hard job.
That's a hard skill.
But I think that it's beneficial. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I would like to build a home in the next year or so.
Right.
If you know what I mean. So it'll be good that home will mean more. Boy, you sit and tell your grandson, I laid every block here, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? It's something, even just to build something, I think that's a very good trade.
Right.
That's something like Mr. Boutwell say, you're never going to lose that.
Right.
It's always going to be a structure need to be built.
Right.
That's just, But, construction work, as far as construction work, how does that, do you guys ever play chess before?
Oh, yeah.
I love it. Love the game.
Really?
Chess? Yeah.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Boutwell, I might be giving you another phone call. You know how to play too, Mr. Lancaster?
I've played chess in the past. I'm a backgammon man, so I like backgammon a lot.
You like backgammon, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, man, what you see on this cup here, it says TLC Family Fun, right?
Yeah, right.
So I am going to have series, like basically where I would play you in chess, Mr. Boutwell. Now, all due respect, I'm a protege of Coach Simmons also, so I'm very competitive. And I basically would kick your behind
Bring it then.
while we play chess.
Yeah.
And the world would get to see me destroy you, but we would also have conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I actually have a 3-in-1 board here where it is backgammon on one side
Yeah.
and chess and checkers on the other side.
Yeah.
And I would be honored
Yeah.
to see you gentlemen back here in the near future
That'd be awesome.
to kick me a little behind. You know, you actively play chess, Mr. Bauer?
I haven't played in a while.
Me neither. I haven't played in a while, but
I think he's lying.
no, actually, you know, like I say, I did 18 years in prison. I learned mostly my first 5 years. Everyone is not good company. You know, chess is a game that you can make a man feel like he can't think.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a firm believer in all company is not good company. And everybody don't know how to lose.
Yeah.
And I've been winning most of my life. If I apply myself, I'm going to win. And I like this eye contact you give me, Mr. Bauer.
Yeah.
I believe that you
I'm just thinking all my grandkids I think I've taught to play. Yeah, it's a good game. Strategy.
I definitely will be giving you a call. And, you know, I think that's, you know, the reason why I brought up chess and we think about construction. You know, Mr. Lancaster said, you know, it's like life. You know, and you can use parables because when you build a structure, you got to have the blueprint. You got to be able to read it. You got to be able to lay this foundation. You got to be able to put this roof on. You have to be able to do the inside, the left. You know what I mean? It's so much that go into it. And, you know, your sons also in construction, correct, sir?
That's correct.
And, you know, and throughout life, have you ever used the construction parable to give them a life lesson? For example, you know, Jesus taught about farming because most people at that days understood farming. They was farmers. So have you ever used a construction type analogy to teach them a life lesson? Or how can, you know what I mean? Like chess. Chess is the game of life. You know, for example, when you first learn to play chess, you only want to know you only trying to do what you want to do, but you have to be on the defense also. You know, and you have to.
Well, I think what you're saying is for every action you make, there's a reaction.
Yes, sir.
And you want to make a positive action in order to get the positive reaction. So, you know, and I think if we did that, it'd be a good thing.
That's right.
But you got to win.
That's right.
First.
You think you? I can't wait. I can't wait to get you, Mr. Boutwell.
I don't want you to cry.
I promise I won't.
Okay.
One thing about me, sir. I only get determined.
Okay.
You know, I don't believe in. You know, I'm very loyal to a fault. I'm very, very loyal. I'm determined. You know, I'm the oldest son. You know, when you're the oldest, you have a different outlook. You know, mom and dad kind of implement different things within you. Like you say, it's kind of like, you know, mom might have been 30 years old with me, but my baby brother, she might have been 38. You know, those 8 years is a difference. That's like you know, getting on Jason. Now you're getting on Jason's son. You know, now you're a little softer, you know, you're a little more cushion. So the son kind of got a little more Coach Simmons in him than
He's got a good bit,
yeah. So I tell you, go ahead, Mr.
One thing I was thinking about Matt Rudiani when I talked about him. Both his sons are starting linebackers at Trinity this year, and so it's kind of a rare deal. Luke and Jake are their names, and I've only seen that one other time in the history of me watching football, and that was at Leesburg. I think it was Jimbo and Bubba Pratt both lined up at linebackers as brothers. You ever know anybody else that did that as brothers?
No.
It's kind of a rare deal. It's
it
pretty
is
cool to
That'd
watch.
be very rare. Yeah.
It's kind of a cool thing to watch.
Tell you what, gentlemen, we're gonna play a game called Fill in the Blank.
Okay.
We're gonna go from left to right,
Okay.
and when say I ask you the first question,
Okay.
you the second question, then it'll be you first and you second.
Okay.
So you say the first thing come to your mind. There's no right or wrong answer.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to.
I travel and see the world.
I've always wanted to. Boy, I don't know if I got a.
Beat me in chess.
No, I ain't always ever wanted to do that. That's good. I suppose being traveling the world. That's a good one. That's what I would say.
I love when someone
remembers something I did for them that they were was good for them.
Mr. Lancaster, I love when someone,
Reaches out and reconnects.
if I had to do it all over again, I would.
I'd be kinder earlier.
I would. What would I do? What do you call me? You got me. What would I do earlier? I would have probably wanted to be saved.
Not earlier. What would you do different?
Yeah,
Oh,
what
different.
would you, yes.
What would I do different earlier? I would have.
Probably been better looking.
Yeah, but that. Yeah, okay. I would have been better looking. That's a good one.
Don't be letting Mr. Lancaster influence your answer. Now.
Yeah, he called the plays. So
Okay. My favorite holiday is,
that'd be Christmas.
A Christmas.
it aggravates me when people,
Drive poorly.
When people drive bad, that's what I would say.
I'm going to have to ask him everyone first.
Yeah, you ought to do.
He sat next to me in school too.
Yeah,
Did you copy off his paper?
I did.
I did that.
He was so smart.
I did that one time and I made an F.
Yeah.
And I said, from here on out, I'll make my own
Make
F.
your own
That's
F.
right.
Yeah.
The best quality someone could have is,
Friendship.
Love.
if I had to ask God one question, it would be,
When am I coming home?
Why did you love me so much to forgive me?
my childhood crush was,
My wife.
smart man.
My childhood crush. Now you're going to get me in trouble. Careful. Dude.
A dude.
No, dude. My childhood crush. I would think there would probably be, I don't know who the actress was in The Parent Trap when we were kids, but I thought she was cute. She was the Disney movie, The Parent Trap.
No, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I remember the name of it. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
I don't remember her name.
Mary or Ginger Ann?
Say it again.
Mary or Ginger Ann off of Gilligan's Island?
Mary Ann or Ginger?
Oh, Mary Ann.
Mary Ann for sure.
Why Mary Ann?
Dude, you got them cutoffs? Yeah.
Ginger was too formal.
Yeah, she's too flashy.
Yeah. My favorite movie is,
My favorite movie would be something Star Trek.
That surprises me.
It does. Wow.
Yeah, just don't see you as a sci-fi guy.
Oh, I love sci-fi.
I've been there. It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. Got to watch it in black and white. I won't watch it in color.
if I could travel anywhere in the world, it would be,
Anywhere in the world, I would like to go to Antarctica.
All you got to do is go to the gift store and go in the freezer. It's the same
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
I'd like to go to New Zealand.
if I could go back to any age, it would be,
If I could go back to any age, it would be somewhere around 36.
I would think 1492. when
Oh, that. I thought our age.
I was hiding. Dude, I love high school so much. College was fun. My kids were just a ton of fun. It's hard to pick an age. I would say maybe an age where I don't hurt every day when I get out of bed. 17 would be a
I was
good
thinking
place.
that too when I said that.
So do I get to have all my life's knowledge at 17? I'll take that again.
We all go back further with the knowledge.
Yeah.
If you could be born in any decade other than the one you was born in, which decade would it be?
The decade I would be born in would have been probably the late 1800s, in the 80s or 90s.
I would think 1920s, so I could be a part of the greatest generation and go defend our country in World War II.
Amen. Amen. Jesus is
My Savior.
Jesus is everything. He's just our compassionate God.
when I meet someone, the first thing I notice is
First thing I notice is their eyes, how they if they look at me, if they're eye contact.
What their attitude says.
my greatest strength is
I would say understanding.
I would say my fortitude and not giving up.
the biggest misconception about me is
Biggest misconception about me. Maybe it's the teachings of my Coach Simmons and my father, and maybe to some people I may look a little rough about things. I don't know what to say. Like, don't have a understanding about it. Something. Yeah.
Say the question again, please.
the biggest misconception about you
Is that I'm all tough. They don't have a soft side.
Yeah.
okay. My greatest weakness is
My greatest weakness. That would be probably, I may want to help someone a little more than they probably should be helped, maybe to a point that it hinders them.
it's going to be a hard one for him.
Yeah, it's hard, period.
Yeah,
It's hard.
it's a difficult question. Probably, I don't know, sound arrogant, but putting too much confidence in people, maybe believing people too quick.
I draw a line in the sand
If you threaten my family.
Yeah, I'd have to second that. It's I'm real pliable up until it's threatening.
if I had to star in a movie with any actor, it would be
An actor that I'd want to star in a movie with. I'm not big on those. Somebody probably from some of those actors from the 40s, maybe a Jimmy Stewart.
That's exactly
Yeah,
what I was going to
yeah,
say.
yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy Stewart.
I had in my mind, I just figured one of y'all would say Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood.
Well, he would be.
Yeah,
one.
Clint Eastwood would be good.
Okay, my biggest regrets is
You know what? I really don't have any, I don't think. None.
Yeah, regrets. kind of go along with expectations, and expectations are premeditated resentments. And so once you kind of figure out where all the rough spots are, and you avoid those or learn how to handle them better, the regrets kind of slide away. You accept yourself, you accept those around you for who they are. And
I'm a firm believer. Once you identify for what it is, if a dog gonna bark, a cat gonna meow, and a rooster gonna crow. So if you see a rooster crowing, why is that aggravating you that rooster is crowing?
Right.
That's what that rooster was created to do.
He's doing his job.
And with that being said, you process it, and it's a rooster. It is. If you expect for it not to crow, that's your fault.
That's right.
My fondest childhood memory is
working with my dad.
Oh, I'd have to say being with my mom. She passed away our senior year of breast cancer, and so I miss her. And but just her spirit, I have her humor, her love of sports. I can remember coming home from elementary school when they would they still played the World Series in the daytime because nobody had lights. And I'd come home from elementary school, and she had the transistor radio on her ironing board with a little sprinkle bottle from Pepsi with the holes in the top. She's telling me to shush because Sandy Koufax is pitching and it's the end of the game. And so I got great memories of that.
Florida State or the Gators?
Florida State.
That's why James can park in handicap spots.
And I got 2 grandkids at Florida State right there.
And, well, it's not that hard a school. You drive through towns and with your windows down, they'll throw a diploma in.
And this year I have to agree with you.
No, well, Florida State's a great school. I've graduated from Florida, but James and I know football so good that understand that they're 20-year-old kids that you can't get to make your bed. How you going to get 100 of them to think the same way? My daughter got her master's in specialist at Florida State, and they were so kind to her. And so I respect both schools.
Joe Montana or Tom Brady?
Whew. Yes. I'd pick both of them.
I'd say Tom Brady.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Tom Brady is the GOAT for sure. But Joe Montana had something lucky about him. You could feel like he's going to pull it out of the fire.
28-3?
Yeah.
Tom Brady's not looking.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen something like that? Super Bowl?
No. He's just a freak of nature.
Nick Saban or Bill Belichick?
Nick Saban.
Nick Saban. I met Bill Belichick. I went to a coaching clinic at the University of Florida. You got time for this story? And so he was the main speaker, and there's 3,000 or 4,000 high school coaches there. And he spoke just before supper in this big auditorium. And when they broke, they told them supper was ready. And it's like having 4,000 third graders there. They're all going to be first in line, and so they're all rushing over to the dining hall. And I had some miles on me at the time to where I didn't have to be first in line. So there was a little waiting room outside with couches, and so I just sat on the couch until the line went down. And then Coach Belichick came in after that and saw the big line and came over and sat with me, and just treated me with just common courtesy and respect. And we talked for about 30 minutes, and so I asked him, I said, Coach, you have an amazing ability to cut an all-pro linebacker and sign somebody that nobody's ever heard of, and they turn out to be almost just as good. How do you find those players like that? And he said, when we get serious about a player, we get as much film on those people as we can, including high school film. And he says, what we watch in high school, if he's a pro player, he's going to be on every special team there is. And we watch not his performance, but his heart and hustle.
Effort.
If he has heart and hustle on the special teams in high school, he's going to have heart and hustle with us. And then we know he's coachable. So I thought that was really interesting.
Walter Payton or Eric Dickerson?
Whew.
I'd be Walter Payton.
Man, I've read Eric Dickerson's book. You need to read that sometime. It's just how dynamic he was. But Walter Payton would be my starting tailback.
Barry Sanders or Emmitt Smith?
Whew. Yes. I'd take
Boy,
both.
would you like to have both? I was going to say.
Yeah. Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith's a friend of mine. And my buddy was academic counselor for the University of Florida for the football team. And back in the day when they could do things like this, he said, I got a guy that'll take you hunting and fishing if you go to this class or you get this grade or whatever. And so I took Emmitt fishing and hunting with me several times. And we went down off of State Road 200. And the neat thing was we would go in that Winn-Dixie like at 8 o'clock at night. There'd be nobody in there. And all those old men from on top of the world were the bag boys. And they see who Emmitt was, and they would follow us around the store. And I got to feeling sorry for Emmitt because he couldn't go anywhere. But just a genuine nice guy and humble. And so when he got drafted by Dallas, I was talking to him, and I said, look here, the average pro life is about 3 years or just under 3 years, and that retirement's at 3, and you play 2.8, and so they have to pay you retirement. And so be careful going out to Dallas and buy you a house that you can sell to anybody and, get you something that's like 2,000 or 3,000 square feet. And so he called me up about a month later, and I call a lot of people Big, and so he calls me Big. He got the Dallas Cowboys to call each other Big, so that was a badge of honor for me. And he called me and he said, Big, I took your advice, but it's 3,500 square feet. I said, I mean, you can live with that. And he said, well, Big, actually, the garage is 3,500. The garage is 3,500 square feet. I said, you dog. So, and then he ends up playing 12 years there, So, but what a dynamic player he was.
What about you, Mr. Emmitt Smith or Barry Sanders?
I'd be Barry Sanders.
Larry Little or Nate Newton?
Larry Little.
Larry Little.
Larry Little.
Don Shula or Joe Gibbs?
Don Shula.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go with Joe Gibbs because he won it.
You know what? I'm beginning to, me and Mr. Boutwell might have to team up against you again. You got to get you another partner.
What do you mean he won it?
The Super Bowl.
So did Don Shula.
So Don Shula.
He only won one.
No, he won 2. He went 3 years in a row.
Oh, okay.
But he won. Oh, he lost when he was at Baltimore.
Yeah.
The Dolphins went 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
They won 2 of them and lost 1.
Y'all got to remember I got hit in Palaca. So
Yes, I remember.
that Earl Morrell's boy, Matt Morrell, lived next door to me at school. And he was the quarterback for Baltimore and for the Dolphins.
That's right. Paul Warfield or what is the name? Larkett. What is the name?
Largent. Steve Largent. Warfield.
Yeah. Warfield.
Mercury Morris or Larry Zonka.
Well, that's 2 different styles.
Yeah.
Yes, you can't call that.
Zonka used to wrestle people off of him.
He got unnecessary roughness while carrying the ball. So I'd have to go with him there, running back.
But I tell you what, Larry Zonka or John Riggins.
That's tougher. I'd still go with Larry.
I'd go with Larry Zonka. Larry Zonka went hog hunting with us, and he was a man. What you laughing at?
You.
The 72 Dolphins or the 85 Bears?
85 Bears.
I gotta go with the Dolphins.
Ooh, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Tom Brady or Peyton Manning?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Even though Peyton Manning's more entertaining, I think.
Yeah. Jerry Rice or Randy Moss?
Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice.
Dan Marino or John Elway?
Well, see, Marino never won the big one.
No.
But he was for our mechanics. And
I think he's one of the best
Man Marino.
Yeah, I'd go Marino. He's the best passer I've ever seen.
Yeah, correct. That's one of the best answers you've given so far.
Yeah, you like that?
Outside of Jesus Christ is your Savior.
Yeah.
Who is the best quarterback in Florida Gators history?
Ooh, that would be in '69. What was his name?
John Reeves.
John Reeves.
I would think Danny Warfel.
You watch out. He's gaining ground on you now. I think I've never seen the other, but Danny Warfel was.
John Reeves had that tough attitude.
Yeah.
Danny Warfel throw that football.
Yeah.
You know, Danny Warfel played at Fort Walton Beach, Choctaw in high school. I went and watched him play the state championship game, and they ran the triple option. They didn't throw the ball. He ran that option to a T.
Wow. Who's the best quarterback in Florida State history?
Charlie Ward.
Yeah, that'd have to be it.
You think Charlie was better than Winston?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you look at Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward turned down a pro baseball career, turned down a pro football career, and turned down or became a basketball player for the NBA.
And we got drafted in the first round.
Got drafted in the first round.
I think that Charlie was Charlie. Charlie changed everything.
He sure did.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Eyes in the back of his head.
Right.
Per throwing that ball, I don't know.
Yeah, Jameis is special.
Winston had some.
Yeah,
you know
Jameis is real
And I don't
special.
think Jimbo was that great of a coach. I
Right.
think that he had some great players that
That's
made some
right.
great plays
Yeah.
at great moments.
Yeah,
I don't think his play calling was the greatest.
I'd agree with that. I met Bobby Bowden. My first year at Florida, I was the head student manager for University of Florida. And my first year, I started out low man on the totem pole. And so I was in charge of the walk-on locker room. Well, the opposing teams would get dressed in the walk-on locker room. And so FSU beat Florida in Gainesville.
Of course.
Well, it was the first time since Columbus landed that had happened.
You know, it happened.
So I have to unlock the locker room at the end of the game and halftime and that sort of thing. So at the end of the game, the press is all over Coach Bowden. And so I'm standing there, and so they talked to him for so long that all the players and all the coaches had showered and were waiting on the bus on him, and he's getting dressed. And I got my little Florida shirt on, and I said, Coach Bowden, I want to congratulate you on a great year. And he kind of set him back a little bit. And he kind of looked at me like the RCA Victor dog, kind of cocked his head a little bit. And he said, son, coming from you, that means a lot, seeing that you're a Gator. And I said, yes, sir. Well, you beat us today, and you deserve that. And he said, well, let me tell you a little secret. He said, it's always been my desire to be the head coach at the University of Florida. And now I know that will never come true. So what would it have been if Florida would have hired Bobby Bowden instead of FSU? But most head coaches, most college head coaches are ego problem people. They're just so full of themselves. And so, they generally talk down to you or don't even talk to you at all. But he treated me with kindness and respect when he didn't have to. So I always respected him for that.
Tell him what's your favorite thing to do when you were a student manager.
Well,
during a game.
Well, what would that be?
Well, you told me one time it was when you went to LSU and you had to go up in the stands and get the football back.
I was the biggest manager. All of them were smaller than me. So
and a night game.
Yeah, at a night game at LSU, it just smelled like liquor there, and
they wanted to beat him up.
They wanted to beat me up. So before that, locker rooms, visiting locker rooms back then were just so poor. I mean, and they did that on purpose to make it hard on you.
Yeah.
And so outside our locker room in the tunnel in the southeast corner, they had the Bengal Tiger outside our locker room. And that trailer he was in, circus trailer, it had bars about 2-inch steel, about 3 inches apart. And this tiger's about 9 foot long, about from me to the door over there. And the only thing moving on that tiger is that last 3 inches of his tail.
Yeah.
And his head is just massive. And so, you know, they let teams go walk on the field so you kind of get acclimated. You know, here's a sprinkler or whatever, the grass is tall or short. And so coming back, it's a little 3-foot door like the size of this exit door here. And coming back, so there's 100 of us in that hallway there, in that tunnel. And so the players started going boo to that tiger, you know. And that tiger goes from 0 to 4 million miles an hour and arched his back and every hair with the deepest dinosaur roar. There was 100 players went through that 3-foot door in about 2 seconds. LSU was beating us 21-0 in the first quarter, and I knew it was that tiger that psyched our team. So, but during warm-ups, you know, before they had nets and stuff, they'd kick the extra point in the stands, and so I would go up in the stands, you know, get the football and throw it back down. And some about 30, 35 rows up, and so they kick it, and it's lands about 6 or 8 seats down, and this big old boy's got overalls on, ain't got no shirt, no shoes, and he catches my ball, and I said, "Sir, can I get my ball?" He went, "My ball." I went, "I think you're right." That I'm going to get knocked out for a $50 ball.
I guess I'm going to buy a ball today.
And his language, my ball.
My ball. My ball, yeah.
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah,
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah.
I tell you, gentlemen, what, this is a part of the podcast where it's called AMA, where you gentlemen get to ask me anything.
Okay. All right.
So where are you from?
Born and raised in Ocala, Florida.
Oh, good boy. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your drive? I mean, obviously you got a good heart. You got a spirit. What drives you to reach out to the community? Where do you think, other than God, who encouraged you in your path the most?
I've always been you know, it's my calling. I feel like that way.
Right.
Like I say, I'm being obedient to God.
Right.
You know, I'm podcasting because God told me to do it, but it's natural to me because I naturally cares.
Right.
You know what I mean? I've always, like I say, I coach football. You know, that's your time. That's your service. You're giving back to the, you know, at first it was a volunteer. And I remember Coach Yancey, I assume, you know, they hired me on to the school board. And when I went in there, that man told me that the information he received was, we have to have this one. I've never seen the kids respond to nobody the way they respond to this man. That was the information was given to him concerning me.
Right.
So it's easy. I have ability to I care. I can feel that I have a very strong spirit of discernment.
Right.
And when people is hurting and people, I genuinely care, man. You know what I mean? And it's natural for me. You know, my passion is to see people better. I made a mistake in life.
Right.
It cost me 18 years of my life. And I would like to not see other people make the mistakes I made. I've never had a speeding ticket. I never drunk a beer. I never smoked a cigarette. I've never done a drug. And I don't think me going to prison had anything to do with that night. I think it was more so of for me to take that journey.
Right.
Because I learned that hurting people hurt people.
That's right.
You know, and I seen so much. I started podcasting in prison, really. You know, people would come to me, he's a grown man. This man is a real killer. You know, half killed. But, you know, he come to me in my bed and tell me, Grandma died. Why are you telling me? You know, it's first I didn't understand why are these people coming to me.
Right.
Why is this grown man crying on my shoulder?
Right.
You know, what's going on here? And sometimes it's the light that's within you. People see it before
Right.
you see it.
Right.
You know, even you, Mr. Boutwell, if you think back, you go talk to your wife and you ask your wife, you remember this guy? It's all good. You know what I mean? Coach Simmons is all good. You know what I mean? My coaches,
Right.
anybody in the community. No one would think that I would go to prison.
Right.
You know, and it's childhood trauma,
Right.
things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Not having a father. You know, telling myself I'm always be there for my child.
Right.
And therefore I turned into a dictator when it came to my child.
Right.
You know, and it wasn't right. You know, we don't know how to communicate properly. A lot of us men don't, you know, but
Right.
I've learned. And I'm just a better man today. You know, it comes natural. It's a struggle. You know, it's hard to get people to support you and donate you and things of that nature. But I do it because I get weary sometimes.
Right. Sure.
You know what I mean? I get weary, but I know why I'm doing it. And when that why is because he told me to do it.
Right.
And that's all I need.
Right. Well, that's awesome. And, you know, being a dad is the most important job in the world, in my view.
And there's
And-
only a few of them now.
And it doesn't come with a training manual. And so each one of my kids, I've apologized to them for whatever I did wrong. I didn't give them a subject because they know what the subject is, but I said, I'm sorry I hurt you. And so, you know, try and build bridges and that sort of thing, and learn from your mistakes, and we all make them, and move on and get better. Get up and get back in the huddle.
That's right. Get back in the huddle. You see when we was talking about the construction, see how he used football, get back in, and we all understand that. Get up and get back in. He knock you down, he knock the wind out of you. Get in the huddle
Get back on the ball.
and get ready for the next play.
Yeah.
Mr. Boutwell, any question? AMA?
Where, I see what you're doing. What does it take? Where do you see it going in your future?
I would like to, sir. I have, you know, God deal with me in my dreams, in my sleep. You know, he shows me things. And like I say, Mr. Boutwell, there's a lot of things like the chess thing. To me, it's called chess talk. I would play chess with a person and I would podcast them. And you know, it's just like coaching. Sometimes, like even when you gentlemen, as you sit here today, when you go back and look at this episode yourself, you're going to be talking to yourself. It's rehab. You know, it's counseling. You know, and there's so many people that call me that I meet, and I'm able to network. You know, I interviewed a young lady, and she was molested by her dad. You know, and she opened up on this podcast. But I had also interviewed a woman that's deal with crisis and domestic violence things. So I was able to take that contact and connect them to the other contact and help that woman get help. You understand what I'm saying? And to just keep growing and just helping people. My goal is to have, I do live, like tonight I have a live show called Get It Off Your Chest, where people in the community call in and get it off their chest. You know, whatever bothered them. You had a bad week at work. You know, I couldn't go fishing because it rained. The Gators lost again. You know what I mean? One guy called in and he said that he hate to go to the store. He doesn't want a beer and some peanuts after work.
Yeah.
But these guys keep buying all these lottery tickets. You know, and it's just a stress reliever. You know, just people.
Pressure relief valve.
People want to be heard. Let people feel as though they have a voice.
Right.
You know, and like this president election. Oh my God! I mean, they call in, but I'm an open book. I genuinely meet a man as a man. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm fair across the board.
Right.
Even when it comes to my parents or my relatives, if that's my son and that other kid is right, you're wrong, son. I'm on God's side. Right is right.
Right.
Family, I love you, but you're wrong. I'm gonna love you enough to tell you that you're wrong, and to stand by what's right. As much as I love you, I love God more.
Right.
And maybe you guys call in tonight. It's a great show. I got a guy that call in every night, and he's a vivid Trump supporter.
Yeah.
And I guess he worked with some black guys or whatever. And he called in. He said, "I'm getting tired of I'm called racist because I'm a Republican. I wear my Make America Great hat, and I didn't say anything when Obama won. But see, my job is to allow this man to get it off his chest. It's not that I agree or disagree.
Right.
It's not for me to agree or disagree.
Right.
It's for him to get it off his chest.
Right.
People comment and they comment on the thing, or some people call in after him, and it's just it turned into fun. You know what I'm saying? But the passion, and I've never met him yet, but it's like a relationship being formed. You know what I'm saying? And maybe one day he'll come sit down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just something, things for the community. It's just in my heart, Mr. Boutwell, to help people into.
Well, what you're talking about, our forefathers were geniuses. They set up a two-party system, and it made us a democracy where people could be free and work, for a living and take care of their families. And the thing you have to remember about these elections and a Democrat or a Republican or independent or whatever you might want to call yourself is we all wind up being Americans in the end. And we have to remember that. I guarantee you that you didn't hate the Democrat or the Republican, the guys that the greatest generation that fought in World War II in that foxhole. I guarantee you they wasn't asking the guy next to him if he was a Republican or Democrat. I guarantee it didn't matter.
And that's my message.
So,
my message is, I'm more concerned that you got my back. If I can count on you.
Yeah. Right.
When if I'm in the military and I can go to sleep and you're gonna watch my back. When you're in the military, when you're on the football field, when you have on the same uniform, it's us against them. No matter what difference we may have, it's us. We're one team against the opposing person.
Right.
And that's about life. And I'm a firm believer you meet a man as a man. And I tell my people sometimes, my people, black people call in with foolish. Sometimes we I'm straight up. Don't ask. I'm off of Coach Simmons' tree. Don't ask me if you don't want to know.
Right.
And I'm for what's right. You meet a man as a man. If you can do it, I tell them all the time. I say, if the Klansman will hang you the first chance he get, and you will shoot him the first chance you get, what makes you different than him?
That's right. Yeah.
Don't become what you despise. You understand what I'm saying? Be, love conquers all. Me coming home from prison, my brothers, I got brothers, you raised tough, you don't be hugging and stuff, like Mr. Boutwell, I see you come, I grab you gentlemen, Mr. Boutwell and shake my hand, I grab him and hugged him. I sensed a little, but he kind of going and gave it to me, but that's me.
Right.
I just met this man.
Right.
He probably think, oh, don't worry about me. You know what I'm saying? But that's me. Because that's, and it's consistent. My brothers, I come home, I tell them, all right, bro, I love you, and give them a hug or whatever. They used to be kind of, all right. They'll let me do it to them, but they wouldn't do it back.
Right.
But I say, all right, bro, I love you. They wouldn't say it back. But my persistence.
Right.
Now they'll say, I love you.
Right.
My dad. I said, Dad, anybody call you and tell you they love you today? You all right, son? You all right? Yeah, Dad, I'm all right, And now he'll call me sometime. As soon as I answer, he'll beat me. Right. Anybody told you they love you today? So it's you have to. Yeah. Coach Cullen at the Forest. Right. I had seen him out to the NFL flag, and we was talking, and he was about to go, and he took about 5 steps. And he said, Robinson. I turned around and said, yes, sir. He said, anybody told you they love I slipped, you know what I'm saying? He's so used to it until he got me, and it starts to where other people do it. And so often we don't say it. And as men, we feel like as though when we go to work, I love you. I'm paying these bills. Right. I'm providing for you. That means I love you. And that's the older generation. Right. But it's important to say it. It's important to let them know that. You understand what I'm saying? It's good to, everyone wants to be loved. Everyone needs to be loved. Everyone deserves to be loved. Right. And, when we talk about Christians and we talk about followers of Christ, it boils down to love.
Right.
The Bible says in 1 John 4:8, God is love. Period. Outside of Jesus wept, that's one of the shortest verses in the whole Bible.
Right.
God is love. Simple as that. And we all strive to have the love of God. The word Christian means a follower of Christ. And Christ went about displaying love to each and every person. You meet a man as a man, you deal with the spirit, you love the person, hate the spirit. So you got to despise some of these spirits and you got to stand up to them.
Yeah.
Because it's a spiritual world. And some people, it runs a little deeper, but you have to stand strong against the wiles of the devil.
Right. That's right.
But that's the long answer, Mr. Boutwell.
Yep. Thank you.
My goal, sir, is to, when I got this, like I say, it's on faith, but I try to have something every night. Like I can have a Jeopardy game to where, like you and Miss Boutwell would come and sit here. Mr. Lancaster, Miss Lancaster sit here. I sit there. You see it's a 3-camera setup. And we would play Jeopardy, but I'll create the categories. It may be Westerns, Gunsmoke, and Gunsmoke for 100. And I ask you questions. So it's just family fun. And I try to generate some kind of funding too. Maybe I can have some little refreshments. Maybe it's something somebody enjoys so much to where they may do a little something to come. But in the end, I do it. It's hard for me, Mr. Boutwell, to take something that God has placed within me and charge someone for it. It seemed crazy to me. But in the world, it's rare. It takes resources.
That's right.
I'm learning. I only been home. I haven't been home from prison 3 years yet.
Yeah.
So I'm still, Mr. Lover guy, and God work it out, but God gives you wisdom. You have to do something, you know what I'm saying? But in the end, man, to see smiles on people's face, like when you look at my channel, you'll see the kids, the phenomenal job I do with the kids, man. Some of them kids I interview, and they, sometimes, Mr. Boutwell, I barely could leave those football games. My back is hurting so bad, man. Like the coaches, they know they'll come get me on the golf cart and take me away because I can't make it. But those kids will stop me, TLC, you gonna interview me, and I tough it out. You know what I'm saying? I'm standing there, you can see the I'm hurting bad, you know what I'm saying? But I get that interview, that means so much to that kid.
Oh yeah.
This the new TV. Social media is television. No one have cable anymore. It's the phone, and that's what it's about. Creating memories and at the end, letting these kids know you love them. You know what I'm saying? You showing them we want to discipline them when they do wrong. You got to support them when they do right. Reward them. You know what I'm saying? I give out. I make shirts with my logo on it. I give player of the game. I give them to the kids. So the kids, they be like merchandise. They, 18-year-old kids, they going crazy. They got a shirt. But it's just the point that they're being honored for their hard work. And I try to go to every school. I live way in Ocklawaha, man. I go all the way to Donnell and North Marion, and and it's just, I tell you what, I've been home 3 years almost, not able to work, and I've never been without a dollar. You understand what I'm saying? It may be 10, but I've never not been able to put gas in that car to come and support, do the things that God told me to do. And in the end, how can I complain? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And my heart is, being in prison, your whole life is in a locker. So I'm very content. I'm not needy. You understand what I'm saying? Everything, my earnings is in this room, which you see, for my ability to do this, because I believe that if you're inside of God's will, I'd rather be in than out.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's just no other better place to be. And that's the long answer, I guess. Okay, this is the last part of the show. It's called Final Thoughts. So we're going to start with you, Mr. Lancaster. You're going to look into this camera directly over my shoulder, and you're going to give the world, my community, my audience, your final thoughts. What's the message you want to get out to the world, sir?
Well, everybody's a work in progress, and just keep doing you, and praying for forgiveness, praying for guidance, and be kind to folks. Treat people like you want to be treated, and get through the day, and find out who can you help today is a big question. And I'm grateful for you, Mr. Robinson, and thank you for a great afternoon, and always good to see my friend James Boutwell here, and so it's a great day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Boutwell, your final thoughts, sir.
My final thoughts would be, I'm just thankful for every day that I get to spend with family and friends. I've enjoyed this today. This is something new for me. I've never done anything like this. I see it on YouTube, but never realized, what went into doing it. Mm-hmm. And I just love my family. I want to make sure they're all well. I want to do my best to raise them in the things that people have taught me that I value. Friendships like David's friendship for just, I don't know, nearly 60 years, I guess. And just, I just want this country to be blessed, that we have so much. And I just feel bad when people don't realize what they have. And like you said, $10, if you've all, I've always, one thing I've always prayed for, I've had to make a payroll, ever since I got home from the service, just about every week. And it's something I always prayed about, all these people that work, and make sure you can pay them, and because they have families, but God always provided for that. And I just want to I'm thankful for that. I thank for everything that I've had, and I try to give back that, and that's what I'm.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I am your host, William Robinson, TLC Talk, Love, and Communication. We had a special episode of My Story with Mr. David Lancaster and James Boutwell. Very, very, very influential men in this community, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank them for their time and their wisdom that they have given us. If you want to support and donate to this channel, it is at Cash App, Anybody Love You, PayPal, Robinson704William at gmail.com, Zelle 352-209-3306. We only got one life to live, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a whole lot easier with love and communication. And remember, if no one told you they love you today, William Robinson loves you.